You ever look at your calendar and think, whose life is this? Like somewhere along the way, you started building someone else's version of success and forgot to check that it was actually yours. Welcome to Daily Power Boost, Ignite Your Potential, the podcast where your transformation begins. I'm Shawn Michael, and each day I'll bring you quick, impactful insights and action steps to fuel your personal and professional growth. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a leader, or someone ready to break limits and ignite greatness, this is your daily power boost to crush obstacles, stay focused, and awaken the extraordinary potential within you. Because remember, greatness begins within. Let's go. Welcome back to Daily Power Boost. Yesterday, we talked about leading without proving, how to stop performing for permission and start trusting your authority. Today, let's go deeper, because once you stop performing, you can start seeing. And what you see isn't always comfortable. You'll see all the places your life doesn't match your values, all the yeses you gave that weren't aligned, all the goals you're chasing that you never actually chose. That's not failure, that's clarity. And clarity always costs something before it builds something. A few years ago, I did an exercise I recommend to every leader I coach. I wrote down my core values, the things that I said mattered most: faith, family, freedom, impact. Then I looked at my calendar for the prior month, and here's what I saw. Faith, 15 minutes on Sunday mornings squeezed between projects. Family, quality time that felt more like scheduled appointments than true presence. Freedom, non-existent. I was more bound than I had ever been. Impact, sure, but at what cost? My calendar was full, but my life was empty because I'd built a successful life that had nothing to do with who I actually was or what I actually valued. I was living in integrity with the market's expectation instead of my own. Here's what happens when your life doesn't match your values. You feel successful and exhausted at the same time. You hit goals, but feel nothing. You check all the boxes, but you can't shake that sense that something's missing. It's not burnout, it's misalignment. And misalignment is more dangerous than burnout because you can recover from exhaustion, but you can't recover from living a life you never wanted in the first place unless you admit it. So here's a hard question most leaders avoid. What are you doing right now, today, that you wouldn't choose if you were starting from scratch? Not what's hard, not what's challenging, what's misaligned. What are you tolerating because you've been doing it so long you forgot it was optional? What commitment are you honoring out of obligation, not your conviction? And what version of success are you chasing because someone else said it mattered, but not because it actually does? Those aren't easy questions. They're honest. Integrity requires honesty well before it requires action. Here's what most people get wrong about integrity. They think it means doing the right thing. Nope, it doesn't. Integrity means your life matches your truth. Someone else's truth, not the market's truth, not the version of you that's performing for approval. Your truth. And if your calendar, your commitments, your daily rhythms don't reflect what you say matters most, you're not living in integrity. You're living in compromise. And compromise will always cost you more than you think you're paying. And that cost, that's what we're addressing tomorrow. The boundary as love. Why saying no is leadership. Because once you see where you're misaligned, you're gonna have to start saying no to things that look good but don't feel right. And that will require a kind of courage many leaders don't ever develop. But first, I want to land today. Here's your integrity audit. Pull out your calendar and look at the last 2 weeks. Now, write down your top 3 values, the things you say matter the most. And ask yourself, does my calendar reflect these or contradict them? Circle one thing you're doing out of obligation instead of alignment. Just one. You don't have to fix it today. You just have to see it. Because you can't change what you won't name. And naming misalignment is the first step toward living with integrity again. The most exhausting life you can live isn't the busiest one. It's the one that doesn't even belong to you. So if you've been feeling restless, disconnected, like something's off, even though everything on the outside looks fine, it's not ingratitude. What your soul is telling you is that it's time for an audit. Because success without alignment is just a fancier cage. And you didn't work this hard to build a life that you need to escape from. This was the Integrity Audit. When your life doesn't match your values. Tomorrow, the boundary as love. Why saying no is leadership. Because once you know what's misaligned, you're going to have to work to protect what matters. And that will mean disappointing people who've gotten used to your yes. With strength in heart, I'm Shawn Michael. Stay close. Thanks for tuning in to Daily Power Boost. Ignite your potential. Remember, transformation starts with action. So take today's insight, make it your own, and awaken your inner potential. Because remember, greatness begins within. Catch you tomorrow for your next Power Boost.